Ladies and gentlemen, it's Adrian's Dunchik, CMT, Charter Market Ignition. Welcome to today's AMA session with our incredible partners at Vertical AI. And I'm joined today by the man himself, by the very handsome and good looking, sharp, bright mind embodied in the person of Mark, who's the CEO of Vertical AI. And I got a huge shout out to you in the first place. You guys are doing incredible stuff in the
Thank you.
field of AI, in the field of blockchain, and joining all those forces together, those powerhouses. And Vertical AI is such an incredible case study for all that, for application of AI with blockchain. I love it so much. So kick it off. Like, how is it going? How are you feeling today?
I'm doing pretty great, man. And it's always great, Adrian, to talk to you. I think that we've connected as well during Miami. So I could gladly say that you, but also other people from the Burp Nest, we became friends along this journey, along this partnership. So always happy here to come on board and talk about all the stuff that is happening behind the scenes at Vertical.
That's it, man. I mean, I love it. I love it so much. Like I said, for so many different reasons. Not only because we are friends in real life, and then that we met, and spent time together. For full disclosure, again, I'm a big fan of what you're building, right? Because we need AI simplified. AI can be very tricky at times, especially when you combine two tricky things into one. The blockchain is especially tricky. It can be especially tricky, and if we
Definitely.
merge it and if we build if we use blockchain as a tool, as a means, of simplifying whatever AI is capable of, well, we land at a vertical AI, right? So talk to me real quick for all the new listeners, for all the new viewers who are yet to find out what vertical AI is. So what is it? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so Vertical aims to be the no-code platform for all your AI usage, customization, and deployment. So all in one place where we are really focused on making sure that our interfaces are intuitive, that it's accessible, and that we've removed all the technical barriers. And if we go a little bit more into depth into that, that means that we are actually building three main products within our ecosystem. Of course, starting first with the Vertical Studio, which we did beta testing on a few weeks ago, which we are currently building into an alpha version, which is going to be open to the public. And this is basically our no-code playground for AI customization. At start, at the beginning, we started out with focusing on fine-tuning, but we are actually moving beyond fine-tuning and more also giving RAG and MCP feature-like capabilities within our studio, because we want to make sure that for every use case, there is a way of customizing AI for the users, and that the user doesn't have to completely fine-tune a model and collect all the data. Secondly, we have the Vertical Stream, which is already live, which is at version 1.5 currently, where we've seen massive traction. I just looked at the stats, and we are currently over 24,000 registered users with over 10,000 monthly active users that in the past 30 days have sent nearly 100,000 prompts collectively. So we've seen phenomenal growth over there. I think that's a great early sign proving that we are on the right track. And thirdly, I think the product that I'm a lot of involved in as CEO, as also product manager, is the Vertical Cloud, which I'm building together with our lead engineer, Kevin, and also David. And basically, this is our own orchestration software that is capable of auto scaling and load balancing processes of our platform across decentralized or GPUs from decentralized networks. And that is exactly where the blockchain comes in, because when we started integrating a network, for example, like Akash, we discovered that a lot of stuff is still happening manually. And this is a big blocker for commercial people, right? Because they are used to traditional providers where auto scaling and load balancing happens automatically. So the conveniences of traditional cloud is not yet found in decentralized cloud providers. And we actually build a middle layer, which we call vertical cloud, which is capable of auto leasing and auto deleting leases from these networks. So it's agnostically. We now only have Akash integrated, but we are working on an integration for Edge network and also for Nosana network, just to make sure that we have more capacity to our orchestration layer, that we're not only dependent on one network. But the beautiful thing about this is that with vertical cloud, we are able to bring you the conveniences of traditional cloud, without the manual labor, everything going automatically, auto scaling with your demands, but with the cost efficiency of decentralized GPUs. So the best of both worlds we combined, and as of my knowledge, we are the first company ever that has built this one of a kind or first of a kind infrastructure.
Man, and this is already impressive, right? And when we spoke about it, the first time we crossed paths on the AMA, I was already impressed, though. Uh, Jessica, right? Just as you said, pointed out, right? It's a combination of the best of the two worlds, of the centralized world and of decentralized world, right? It gives you
Yeah.
the freedom, it gives you the power, it gives you the cost efficiency, the accessibility, transparency, and so on, while at the same time being able to unite, all the AI relevant tools, and this is all somehow packed and wrapped around this ecosystem that is using the native token that is called VERTAI, right?
Yes,
So the
correct.
VERTAI, and what is the actual process? Because you've recently dropped like deleted, erased, dropped the buy and sell tax, which is quite a big event, right?
Yeah.
Which is quite a big event. So what caused that to happen, and why did you do that, and what's coming after? What's going to be the result of that?
Yeah. So basically, dropping the tax was a strategic move that we did, but it was also a promise that we made to the community, right? I don't think that projects that launch with a tax are inherently something bad. I actually think it's something beautiful. It gives startups that have a great idea the opportunity to utilize this financial system where you can program these, digital assets in such a way that you can essentially do a sort of crowdfunding. So you present your ID, you present your team, we want to set this out, and you give out a token into a liquidity pool, and a lot of people can participate. But yeah, the thing is, for in the beginning, is to participate, you have to, give away a portion of what you buy, and that's the tax, right? You basically funding the project and the idea that you believe in a way that, in the hope that in the future, of course, they build the product just like they promised and start. So what we try to do with Vertical is that, we are kind of changing the way that we all get accustomed. I think it became too normal that projects keep their tax on forever. And a lot of projects, they have the tax purely for value extraction. But we from the start said we need the tax to build a treasury, to fund, the operations, the development, the marketing, etc. And I think that we've reached a point where we have built a sufficient enough capital in our treasury that having the tax on is only going to be a burden for the people participating. So as I said, it was a promise that we made at start, when we don't need the tax anymore, when we've accumulated enough in our treasury, we were going to delete it or drop it. And this is just us following up on the promise that we made. And the reason why we picked this specific moment is mainly because we have our payment system of our platform just around the corner. And, we've been building fast, right? In the past few months, we have developed a product to a stage where we feel confident that we can start charging our users money for. And we don't find it fair to and be earning, through the tax on our token, and then at the same time, putting our revenue systems on our platform. For us, it was always, it's one of the other one, right? If we don't turn revenue on the platform, we need the tax to fund to come to a stage where we can turn revenue on. And in about 2 to 3 weeks, we expect to turn this revenue engine on. And we found this to be one of the first steps to moving into more of a matured ecosystem where the token is tax-free, and we have to do it now with the treasury that we accumulated, and now we have to prove it, right? And we feel super confident that this was the right moment to do it.
Got you, got you, got you. And it all kind of like comes around pretty much the same time. I mean, it's interconnected, to set up a new tokenomic system, right? At the end of the day, because the tax regime has changed, which impacts the accessibility, which impacts the demand, which impacts the supply. So it makes sense. It's reasonable to address that in the
Mhm.
overall token economics, so to speak, right? So what is it that changed? How is it different, to what it was, and how can it actually impact, driving VERTAI forwards?
Yeah, so basically, what we did is we updated our token mechanics. So we started out with, just some blunt general token mechanics at start, but we felt that those token mechanics what we had at start didn't per se connect the platform's success to the value accrual of the token, right? So we really wanted to make sure that if our platform does great, that this value is translated back into the organic demand of the token. So we introduced new token mechanics, which made our token a pure utility token in the essence, legally and also practically. So our main focus is mainly to, go full-blown value creation in terms of our platform, in terms of our token economy, etc. And that's why we connected those two. And what we basically do is we want to make our native token the most economically friendly way to use our platform. So what we essentially did, I think the main utility that we are going live with in about 2 to 3 weeks is that everyone that uses the VERTAI token gets a 15% discount compared to any other payment method on our platform. So we're going to accept fiat payments, so dollars and euros, and we're also going to accept stables like USDC, and we're going to be accepting our native token. And our native token inherently needs to be the most economically friendly way to use it. So that's one utility that we are going live with soon. Secondly, we're also going to be introducing a staking mechanism where you can stake your VERT tokens and get an API in terms of credits. So this means basically that we are not inflating the circulating supply by staking rewards, which is, of course, in my opinion, not something favorable for a lot of people and for your token economy. So basically you get credits that you use on the platform, but you never have to sell those tokens. You just put them in the contract. And if you don't want to use the platform anymore, you can always take them out, right? So I think that is a great way of also giving back to the people that already are invested in the project and want to use the platform, even when we move from a freebie environment into a payment environment. But I think that also a lot of strategy came from the fact that about 3 to 4 months ago, we have saw a trend happening in Europe, and that trend is mainly around, the MiCAR regulations that are, starting to become activated within different countries in Europe, starting, of course, with the Netherlands, where we have a lot of people based as well in our team. And we saw that centralized exchanges, but also companies that want to do business in Europe with their token being part of the business, they need to be MiCAR compliant if they want to have access to the European market. And what we see is that, the United States has a big scala of AI startups, AI tools that are accessible for the US market, but Europe is still lagging behind. So we saw it as a strategic move to put our platform to use to the European market, just because there is less competition. but making sure that we can do business with our token. So making sure that our success of our platform in Europe translates back to the token value. We need to make sure that we are MiCAR compliant. And that is something that we've been working hard on in the past few months. And we are on the verge of submitting our white paper. And this makes us actually the first small to medium cap project with a token company that is going to be MiCAR compliant. And we think this is going to give us such a competitive edge. And being MiCAR compliant also meant, dropping the tax and going full-blown value creation for your stakeholders.
Got you. It all makes sense, because first of all, there are so many of the new utilities that you just referred, right? However, if we push it forward, what we're looking at is in terms of driving the adoption, driving the accessibility, right? Enabling those new kind of like payment systems. Uh, that's our choice. I mean, that we don't have to do it as the leaders, as the founders, as the people from the industry. However, it comes with a trade-off. And all I mean is, if we want to engage with the world outside, if we want to adopt the mainstream, if we want to push our products, the companies, to the world outside, they wouldn't understand it without translation. They wouldn't understand it the way we understand it in Web3. Like, good luck dropping a pitch deck, of a Web3 company somewhere to the Web2. And I give you an example, right? Simple thing. I went, as we roam around the different conferences, Web3 conferences, we always use those kind of like a digital QR codes and stuff like this, right? The link trees, and those are like digital business cards.
Yeah.
Right. And once I completely forgot, while going to the Web2 conference, I completely forgot, that I hadn't printed the actual physical business cards, right?
Yeah.
And I started talking with those people. They were like very, very influential people, from the Silicon Valley, like having built like multiple businesses, like big money. And we have to kind of like depart, go, and then we say like, okay, how do we connect, right? So I say, like, do I give you like my QR code on WhatsApp or something? And the guy tells me like, what is WhatsApp?
Nah, I don't believe that.
Right?
How's that possible?
Yeah. Well, that's the whole point. In our minds, in the Web3 world, we are so sophisticated, we are so accustomed, we are so used to seeing what we are seeing, that we don't that it's easy to forget that there's a world outside that needs completely different method of calling to, right? So talk to me, Mark, about how is exactly that new payment system that you have coming, how is it going to translate, how is it going to be used to speak to the world outside, to help them adopt the AI?
So that's the thing, right? Like, if a user still doesn't use ChatGPT or hasn't touched anything AI, I'm not sure if we can excite those users per se to participate in our platform. It's all about, we see the value proposition mainly of the people that use a lot of different AIs, right? So you have the same for me, and maybe you're also like that. I have an account on OpenAI, I have an account on Claude, I have an account on Gemini, and the thing is that you're paying not $20 to one, you're paying $20, $10, $30 to every provider that has an AI model available that you want to use for any specific thing that they're good at. And this is where we are playing in. We're playing in on the people that want to use multiple different AI models, or use cases where models are good in, but only have to pay for what they use. So this is the business case for Stream. And these are also the people that are intrigued enough to start customizing their own models in our studio and understand how expensive it is to go through traditional providers to hosting these models. So, but just to go a little bit back, what we try to do with our platform, and I think this is something that we really set out from the start, is that we use Web3 for adoption. We use it for incentivizing. We use it for community building. But the front end of our platform really focuses on user acquisition in Web 2. So we are trying to make the blockchain integration as much as possible in the background, because I think this is a big mistake that a lot of startups make when they use blockchain and Web3 elements in their business case is that they advocate with it as a USP. And I was talking to another founder of a project. He's building his own telecommunication network on the blockchain, which has all these perks, right? It's more private, it's more, you can validate, it all has these, these traditional blockchain perks over traditional networks. He just said to me, well, the moment that I tell someone that we run it on the blockchain, they are scared and they ditch away from the project, especially also investors. And I honestly gave him the advice. I told him, listen, you shouldn't make blockchain per se your USP. Use it in the background for optimization, for efficiency, for cost reduction, for tracking, records of transactions that happen on your platform. But don't advocate it as your primary driver of your whole business idea. And that's what we did at Vertical. We tried to make it as least as possible Web3 savvy on the front end, while utilizing all the best things of Web3 integrations on the back end. And I think that is our business strategy that has helped us acquire already 24,000 users, and that is going to help us get to 100,000 users before the end of 2025.
Love it so much. And well, as the journey continues, so to speak, we are somewhere in the roadmap of ours. All right. So talk to me what we're looking at in terms of what's ahead, what's on the timeline, what should we expect, what those newcomer people that are gonna be coming, to use the VERTAI talk and the platform itself. Uh, like what can I expect in the coming months? What's next?
Yeah. So just a little heads up, the website has slightly been lagging behind the pivots that we made in the recent, I think, 5 to 6 weeks. We are actually currently working on a fully redesigned and updated website, with an updated roadmap, et cetera, et cetera. So what we're looking here at is still valid, but it's going to be updated next week. So keep an eye out for our socials if you want to see the completely redesigned version of the website. But then to follow back on what you can expect, what we are aiming to do is to activate our payment system at the start of Q3 this year. So in about 2 to 3 weeks, we are going live with our payment system. And within that is that you can buy these credits, which you can use over our products. Well, first of all, that's only going to be the stream. So stream, we have listed over 40 models for all these different types of use cases. We've also introduced corners, which have really accelerated the growth of our platform. People love the corners. We see this also in our statistics. And in these corners, we currently have the text corner and the image corner, but we are working on an audio corner, and we are a big believer in our video corner. So you'll be able to use all the latest models, talking about Clink, VO3, Zora, all in one chat interface to generate amazing videos on our platform, which we think is going to be a massive hit with our users. Also, audio is going to be great, and we're also going to be working towards like a coding corner, a meme corner. We really think those corners are going to be driving adoption a lot. And if people still feel like they want to use other models, they can still browse to any of the 40 models that we have listed. But what we are also going to be doing, as I said before, is we are currently working on the alpha version of our studio. So we did a beta testing about 1.5 months ago with 30 beta testers for 2 weeks long. We tested a few things. We've accumulated a lot of feedback information. Basically, the new alpha version is going to be a completely updated version in terms of stability, in terms of orchestration through the vertical cloud over decentralized compute. But also a big add-on that we are going to be doing there is the dataset creating agent. So what we've seen was that a lot of beta testers, they weren't able to execute the flow of the studio, not because they didn't understand it, but just because they didn't have the correct data set in the correct format to execute or finalize the full workflow. So what we've actually built is an AI-powered agent that is capable of just absorbing massive amount of unstructured, unsupervised data. And you prompt it, I want a data set that can train a model based on, I don't know, the wind predictions in Sri Lanka. I'm just saying something. And then it's going to generate a data set for you that you can then use for fine tuning. I think this feature on itself is already super massive because it's going to open up fine tuning for so many people that have a lot of data in spreadsheets but have no idea how to format them correctly. So we're really bringing the newbie, we're really giving the newbie the ability to fine tune even if they don't understand how to make data sets. So that's a big perk. We're going to be integrating vector databases and MCPs later down the line. So even if you don't want to train a full model, but just want to give it knowledge where it can do decisions on, you can set up a vector database on our platform together with system prompting, maybe integrate your API into an MCP server that runs on a very high-level foundational models. All great stuff. And it's all going to be running on the vertical cloud, which is awesome. And I think one of the biggest things, but this is something for more in the end of the year, is that we are going to be opening up the vertical cloud through an SDK to developers that want to utilize our orchestration over decentralized compute, but don't per se want to use the studio on the platform. So this is going to be driving massive adoption as well, but that's really focused on developers. So it's a really specific product that any company in the world that wants to decrease their hosting cost by at least 45% can integrate us and host their whatever they want on our platform.
I got you. And I know you're busy, so I know we're slowly running out of time. The one thing that I want to kind of like figure out, for uh, I think on behalf of all the viewers and listeners, who are watching to the share of the knowledge that you just presented right here, Mark. Uh, what I'm thinking in terms of like a regular me being the regular AI user, right? Me
Mm-hmm.
being the regular blockchain user, so to speak, which is not on par, right? The blockchain, like I said, is still a little bit isolated. It's still a little bit difficult to follow to the world outside, just like we discussed. So
Yeah.
just like you gave a very accurate reference, right? We cannot necessarily use it as a USP because people don't understand it. They don't appreciate it. Uh, they don't have enough knowledge, so to speak, or the product awareness of what it actually does for them to appreciate the blockchain as a utility, for instance,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
To us it's obvious, so it all comes back to to the reference that I made, that we cannot pitch the web 3 to the web 2 direct. We
Mm-hmm.
have to use their language, like this web 2.5, so to speak, is a little bit of a bridge between that. Though if we are to continue growing, right, continue I mean, as the industry, as the blockchain, as the AI blockchain, um, what's kind of like the one thing, the one goal that each and every single AI project, including vertical AI, should prioritize? Is it the accessibility? Is it the UX? Is it the UI? Is it the cost efficiency? Like, what is it that the one priority that if they're expecting for yourself that you see is going to be work best for all the users to actually be driven to you?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in having super intuitive UX UI. So making your product, designing your product in such a way that it creates the least resistance for your users is the best way towards adoption, right? And I think that forcing someone to have a wallet, to buy a token, and then connecting and bridging and all those kind of stuff, it's resistance. It's a barrier for a lot of users, just like you said, especially if you don't understand it. So try to adopt also fiat payments on your platform, just for the newbies that just want to go through Stripe and a Stripe checkout, what they are used to, right? But I think that one major thing that not a lot of projects are really focusing on is accepting stable tokens or stable coins. Especially with the MiCA rules coming out and the Genius Act now passed through to Congress. I think stable coins are the pinnacle of blockchain adoption. So stable tokens or coins are going to be at an institutional and at a retail, at a business level, accepted. And I think this is going to open up the 3 trillion market that we have in crypto. There's a lot of value in crypto that cannot easily, get pulled out to other industries, or it's very hard to pull capital in from other industries. And I think having these stable tokens regulated, accepted as legal tenants, is going to be so massively important for the adoption of our industry. And getting people familiar with a stable coin is super easy. And I think if they get familiar with a stable coin, they can get, the bridge is going to be slightly less harsh, less steep, right? So my recommendation for any project is that, integrate blockchain in as much things that make sense. So there's a lot of perks of having blockchain integrated in some parts of your business, right? Don't use blockchain, the word, as your USP. Use the benefits that come out of it as a USP. And then on the front end, accept both fiat and crypto options if you want to maximize adoption and also value creation for your platform, for your users, and for your token economy.
Love it. And that's the recommendation from Mark, CEO of VERTAI, of Vertical AI, of our incredible partners. And my recommendation, on the other hand, is to follow at build_vertical, at build_vertical. Follow our partners, incredible people. They're simplifying through blockchain the resources for AI to make it cost efficient, to make it accessible, to make it so much more meaningful to everybody, translating all the difficulties into actual simplicity. And I think you, Mark, explained it and laid it out very well for what is what. So congratulations to you. And
Thank you.
yes, and I'm truly honored to be hosting so many of the incredible um, ideas, right here that you just discussed, because it's easy to talk about it. However, the ideation process is not easy at all, right? You have to
Yeah.
know the market inside out, and you've just simplified this all for us, for which I'm very, very grateful. So thank you for spending your time with us. Thank you for coming over to the show. Thank you
Of
for
course.
sharing
Yeah.
this wealth of knowledge, my man. Not only incredible, inspiring person, but also very good build, well built, good looking gentleman. So, Mark, my friend, thank you so much for your time, and I see you on the next one. Yeah,
Thank you, Adrian. Have a great day, man. Thank you for the opportunity. I'll talk to
much
you. Yeah.
much
Cheers.
love. Shout out to VERTAI community. God bless you, everybody.